Welcome back, fellow Vault Dwellers. In today's video, we'll be exploring 1 hour of cut content in Fallout 3. Let's begin. During the early stages of Fallout 3's development, Bethesda considered adding functioning ground vehicles to the game, with some concept images still found in the Art of Fallout 3 book. One would have appeared as a modified hover car, and the other as some sort of industrial walking machine. A pre-war hover car was also designed, but was never implemented. Apparently, another concept idea for navigating the Capital Wasteland involved characters riding giant mole rats, with the possibility for the player to obtain one as well. This could have potentially been one of the coolest features seen in any Fallout game. Mirelurks, the giant mutated crustaceans found living in and around bodies of water, were initially designed to be more intelligent, with some pictures depicting them using tools and weapons, such as femur bones, tridents, and whips knotted with razors. A cut variant called the Catfish Mirelurk can be seen in the images as well. Centaurs were also supposed to have more variations, like the Salamander Centaur, the Martini Centaur dressed in pre-war clothes while holding a drink, and the Twin Centaur. According to its description, this creature consists of two conjoined twins who beat on each other when there's no enemies around. Among the game's resource files, there are unused assets dedicated to night vision goggles, encompassing both meshes and an inventory icon. They were supposed to go along with the Merc Veteran's outfit and have different models for male and female heads. The Operation Anchorage DLC initially had plans to feature unique night vision goggles as well, known as the Peepers. However, much like their counterparts in the base game, these unique goggles were ultimately cut from the final game. Wanamingos, mutant creatures that can only be encountered in Fallout 2, were at one point considered for Fallout 3. Although a lot more different looking, these abominations would have still had a very strange design to them, lacking arms and featuring a huge mouth. 3 types of floaters were also considered, unique species of flatworm mutated by the forced evolutionary virus from Fallout 1 and 2. The 3 variants planned for Fallout 3 would have been the Needletooth floater, resembling a spider with a human head, the Manowar tendril floater, possessing an eye in place of a regular floater's mouth, and the Lamprey floater, with a huge mouth full of sharp teeth and an eye above it. Beth is a cut character who at one point was supposed to appear in the PID DLC. She was scripted to approach the player following the abduction of Marie in the free labor quest. Her purpose was to offer to take the baby from the player. She still has some unused voice lines hinting at this interaction.
Oh, what a dear little orphan child that is. I know a place where she can have a safe home. And you can be about your business far, far away from her.
After receiving the baby, Beth would have journeyed to Medea's quarters, where she would have remained for the rest of the game. She would have worn a Wastelander settler outfit with a head wrap, and for some reason have a box of Abroxo cleaner on her. The Kryolator was once planned to appear in the game, with its appearance resembling that of a homemade weapon. 2 junk items intended for the Kryolator can be found in the GEC: the coolant component, which would have formed the midsection of the weapon, and a liquid nitrogen canister, which would have served as ammunition. When assembled, the weapon would deal frost damage and freeze enemies in place. The Mason Jar Mine is another cut weapon found in Fallout 3's concept art. It would have consisted of a combination of nails, an empty jar, a stick of dynamite, and a lit cigarette. The cigarette would have burned down and ignited the fuse on the dynamite, sending the nails in the jar flying. Because cigarettes are not proximity activated, the Mason Jar would have functioned more like a time bomb than a traditional mine. During Fallout 3's development, Bethesda was originally planning a quest where the Enclave would attack and occupy Rivet City. The player would have had to escort all of the surviving inhabitants to the Citadel, where they would have settled for the rest of the game. The Enclave then would restore the Rivet City aircraft carrier and activate its weapons. According to a 2009 GameSpot article, the ambitious combat-intensive level eventually ended up being cancelled by Todd Howard because of technical difficulties and not having enough time to implement such a huge change in the game world. It was also originally planned for the player to be able to drive Liberty Prime while sitting in his head and lead an assault on the Enclave's occupied Rivet City, creating an epic battle between the 300-foot tall robot and the aircraft carrier with its engines and guns now back online. Found in the art of Fallout 3 are concept art pictures of a mutated James, the father of the lone wanderer. According to Emil Paliarulo, one of the lead developers of Fallout 3, James's fate in the original script was far more grim. The player would have found him in Vault 87, where he would have been in the process of being turned into a mutant, and would beg his child to end his life. If the lone wanderer refused, he would turn into a full-fledged super mutant and attack his own kid. There are a couple of interesting armor pieces and clothing that got left unused, like the pink power armor, a T-45D armor with a worn pink paint job, and a white outline of a heart on the chest, a cut surgical mask that when worn would have granted 5 bonus points to medicine, poison resistance, and radiation resistance, a cut army power armor that has a US Army insignia on each shoulder and on the chest, cut outcast recon armor with the Brotherhood Outcast's red and black coloring, Vault 87 and Vault 92 jumpsuits, and a snowman head turned on its side. A raider named Madam was originally planned to operate a brothel in the Evergreen Mills Bazaar, charging caps or chems in return for her girls' services. Smiling Jack, the non-hostile merchant found in the bazaar, would have acted as security for her. There's also a blocked out area where presumably Madam would have had her office, with a desk and some miscellaneous items still found there. Only players with bad karma could have peacefully accessed this area. The slaver found at the front gate of Paradise Falls, wearing combat armor, internally is named Richter. He was once meant to be involved in the Replicated Man side quest, where at some point the player would have had to obtain a clue from him by demanding the slaver reveal the missing android's whereabouts. If the player character had evil karma, he would have directed you to Sister, another slaver living in Rivet City.
Trail led to Rivet City. Sisters are inside, man. I think he's long given up looking for that android and is just living it up on that boat.
According to some more concept art pictures created by Adam Adamovich, a unique mutated Brahmin variant was once considered, with a long creepy tongue, an empty eye socket, and a gigantic udder. There are also 2 alternative versions of Mr.Handy robots that would have looked a lot different from what we got in the final game, and an antique version that doesn't hover. Deputy Weld, the Protectron guarding the front gate of Megaton, has unused model attachments that would have made him look a lot more unique. He was once planned to have a cool tattoo on one of his sides and a sheriff's badge on the front. A cut unmarked quest named Matchmaker was once intended to take place in Canterbury Commons. It would have involved trying to get Derek Passion and Machete to start dating, both of whom secretly have a crush on each other. According to some of the script notes, the player would have needed to discover that Derek likes her by listening in on a conversation between him and Joe Porter.
Hey, Derek. You did some fine work out there with those Brahmin.
Guess.
I mean it. That's hard work. But you look like you got something on your mind. What's up?
It's nothing. Just, you think Machete might like me?
Oh, man. Just like when I was a kid. Maybe you ought to go talk to her, Derek.
No, never mind. Pretend I didn't say anything.
And do the same by listening in on Machete while talking to Dominic.
All clear out there, Captain Sir.
Whoa, calm down there. Attitude like that'll just get someone hurt. Plus, it puts the locals on edge.
The locals could use a little scaring, sir. Bunch of fat, coward traitors.
Lady, if you don't calm down, I'm going to let Derek know about your crush on him. That'll give you something else to think about.
After overhearing both conversations, the player would have been able to give Derek dating advice, encouraging him to pursue Machete, which would have resulted in 3 possible outcomes. A good outcome, where Derek is nervous, but Machete agrees to go on a date with him. A smooth outcome, where Derek is charismatic, and Machete also agrees to go out. And a bad outcome, where Derek manages to anger Machete, making her reject him. Most of the dialogue for these scenes does not exist, apart from 2 hello lines from Derek to start the scene.
Hi, Machete. Things okay with the, guarding? Hey, Machete, you on guard? Of course you are. Never mind.
And 3 goodbye lines for both Derek and Machete to end it.
Great. I'll see you later, Machete.
Good. See you later. And you better show up.
No problem, Machete. See you later.
It's unknown what reward would have been received after completing this quest. In a cut location named Chesterbrook that would have appeared around the DC area, a cut Brotherhood of Steel Paladin named Northup Part of Paladin Bishop's strike team was meant to appear there fighting a losing battle against a group of super mutants. Talking to him, you would have been able to assist and find out what they were doing there.
Why are you still here? I said, go! We will not give up this position, and the mutants show no sign of slowing down. The best thing you can do is eliminate any mutants you find. I have no reward to offer you, but my thanks.
Sadly, this whole encounter was permanently cut from the game, with only unused NPCs and voice lines still remaining.
We were looking for Fat Man ammo. One of the scribes found a reference to a storage box and some old documents. We found the box all right, and the key. But then the mutants showed up. If I didn't know better, I'd swear that this was a trap. But the only way that those mutants will lay a hand on this key is over my cold, dead body.
There's a cut early Pip-Boy Interface mockup left in the game's data files, with a red color scheme and different looking map icons. In order to listen to the radio, it appears that originally it was planned for the player to be able to tune into various radio stations in the capital wasteland instead of what we got in the final game. Multiple cut quest names can be seen in the images as well, like Endgame and Pentagon Rally the Troops. In Tenpenny Tower, Herbert Daring Dashwood, the retired adventurer, has an unused AI package where he would sneak in people's rooms in order to keep himself amused.
I'm bored. Let's see if I can lighten things up around here.
Dashwood, what the hell are you skulking about for?
A bunch of voice lines still exist in the game files, where the other Tenpenny Tower residents would either catch Dashwood sneaking or talk amongst themselves about Dashwood's odd behavior.
Daring, you're up to no good, aren't you? Naughty, naughty old man.
Hello there. Right. Don't mind me then. I'm, just practicing my hunting skills. Keeps me young and all that. Right. Goodbye now.
You're behaving rather oddly, Mr. Dashwood. Perhaps you should go lie down for a while.
Dashwood, don't do anything stupid.
Mr. Dashwood, perhaps you should go take a nap, dear. You're acting rather peculiar. Have you seen the way Mr. Dashwood skulks about when no one's looking? He's up to something, I'm sure. But what on earth could he be doing?
In the final game, Irving Chang complains that his computer keeps breaking every day and that he has to re-enter his communist ramblings. Well, as it turns out, Dashwood would have been the one breaking it by sneaking in Chang's room and erasing his terminal entries in order to mess with him.
How's that manifesto of yours coming along, comrade? Well, comrade, my computer keeps breaking and I have to start over each day. Not to worry, though. I've got it practically memorized by now. I'm sorry to hear that, Irving. Maybe I should take a look at your computer sometime.
In the small settlement of Big Town, you can encounter a problematic self-involved girl named Bittercup. If you talk to her, she will reveal that she's been romantically involved with most of the male characters in the town and will ask if you're seeing anyone.
You're not, seeing anyone right now, are you?
Regardless of your answer, she will become your girlfriend. Afterwards, if you leave the area and continue to explore the capital wasteland without going back to see her, it was once intended for Bittercup to send out a letter to you asking you to come back to her. It would have read, "Love, when are you coming back to Big Town? I miss you so much. I have some presents for you, and I hope you come back soon to get them. I'll save whatever I find that you can use to give to you when you come back. Miss you, XOXO Bittercup." A cut Washington, D.C. neighborhood called the Raw Creek Estates can still be found in the game files under the name Test QA World, with large burnt out trees, abandoned homes, and deadly creatures like the Yagwai roaming about. Some of the large ruined buildings of DC can be seen in the distance, including the Washington Memorial and the Capitol building. Cut characters named Rock Creek Hunters would have appeared here, hunting the local wildlife. They still have some unused voice lines.
You got some serious stones walking through here by yourself.
Be very, very quiet. They could hear you coming a mile away.
Watch out, there's a Guiden to the north. I'd steer clear of it if I were you.
They also have unique dialogue when patrolling and searching for their prey.
Get out here, Gwai. I got a present for you.
1, 2, got a bullet for you. Shh, you're gonna scare away the Gwai.
Could have sworn I saw some movement back there.
I thought I heard something over here. Yoo-hoo! Yao Guai! Come on out!
In the pre-war compound of Virtual Strategic Solutions, occupied by Brotherhood outcasts, a dead Gary clone can be found in one of the locked rooms. Apparently, this unfortunate clone was taken by the outcasts because of his Pip-Boy, and due to having been a product of a failed cloning experiment, was unable to understand what they wanted from him. The outcasts then proceeded to remove the Pip-Boy by force, which led to Gary's eventual death. This whole horrific scene can be heard in a cut holotape called Interrogation Log.
Gary? Listen, son. I know Murillo was rough. I'm sorry. I really am. Gary? Gary? Right. You can drop the ad for now. I'm not here to hurt you. Gary? Look, just remove the Pip-Boy and we can part ways. Gary! Gary! You know what? Hand me that saw. Turn off the recorder.
During the main quest, The Waters of Life, Enclave will storm Project Purity and confront James in the Rotunda chamber, making him sacrifice himself in order to save you and the rest of the scientists. This scene was originally intended to play out a bit differently, with the chamber being open and Dr. Lee being inside together with James. A cut dialogue scene found in the GEC revealed that just before sacrificing himself, James would have told Madison to leave.
James, this is wrong. You can't do this.
Madison, please. Now's not the time. I'll get the information the Colonel needs, but I need you to...
I won't help you do this, James, not after everything it took to get here.
I need you to monitor the output levels on pumps 3 and 4. Please, step over to the panel and keep an eye on them, will you?
What? What are you talking about? That doesn't even make sense.
Madison, please. It's very important that you do this right now. Just step over to the panel while I access the computer in the control booth.
James,
Please, just monitor the pumps.
By the authority of the President, this facility is now under United States government control.
That's quite impossible. This is a private project. The Enclave has no authority here. I'm going to have to ask you to leave at once.
Stacey is a cut character that was once planned to appear in Little Lamplight, wearing a junior officer's outfit with a baseball cap. She would have been responsible for guarding the front gate after you speak to McCready and gain access to the settlement.
Mayor said to let you in alive, but he didn't say you had to stay that way. Watch your step, Mungo.
The player could have asked her a bunch of questions, like if she's the only one guarding the front gate and what happened to her friend Caps.
Now I am, yeah. But I'm a good guard, and no one's getting by me now. We usually use crawl spaces so mungos can't follow. This gate doesn't get used much, except letting in big cargo or mungos. Both are rare. We used to have 2 guards here, but we can make do with 1, as long as I'm vigilant. We don't have much choice. There used to be another guard. She was named Caps. She used to take care of me. She liked my company guarding. She liked it when I used to tell jokes. Then some raiders attacked, and I was the only guard left. Except, I was supposed to be on guard when they attacked. I should have been here to help Caps. It really is my fault she died. Now I'm the only front gate guard, so it's my responsibility to make up for that.
She also would have had some dialogue lines about Vault 87.
Not much, really. Mayor has us steer clear of the door to Murder Pass, just in case. If you go near it, you can hear them howling. Can't hear much around the other door, though. I guess maybe there aren't as many back there. Doesn't matter much, though.
Zip, the little lamplighter wearing the kid's cave rat outfit, has an addiction to Nuka Cola and will trade you random items for it.
I'll trade you whatever I got from Nuka Cola anytime. You can for zip. You can for zip.
At one point, it was also planned for him to give you a cut note titled Nuka for Zip that reads, "Don't forget, I'll trade you whatever I got for more Nuka Cola. Nuka for Zip, Nuka for Zip." And Knock Knock, another lamplighter, would have given you a note titled Tales of the Wastes as a reminder to come back and tell her about the rest of your adventures. Your stories are pretty popular around town. I'm always looking forward to hearing more of them. Knock Knock. The Dark Heart of Blackhall side quest given to you by Obadiah Blackhall in the Point Lookout DLC was originally planned to play out a lot differently. For starters, instead of asking the player to find the Book of Krobachnia directly, Obadiah would have instead requested that a letter be delivered to Marcella, the nomad Christian missionary found in the disaster relief outpost. This letter would have been a plea for help from Obadiah. Marcella, I'm not imagining it. They're getting closer with each passing night. The dogs are gone, or taken for sacrifice more like. I don't like to rely on superstition to keep them at bay, but there's no way I can fight them off if they take a mind to attack my home. I don't know who else to turn to, Marcella. I'm skeptical, but I think we may be able to trust this outsider to help. After delivering this letter to the missionary, she would have called Obadiah a good man with a family that has an evil past.
Obadiah's a good man, but his family has an evil past. This book is an unwanted heirloom and the foundation of the heathen Kervibi ritualists.
She would then give more information about the Krobachnia and the Kervibi ritualists, presumably a group of swamp folk in possession of the book.
Long ago, the Blackhall family possessed a terrible heirloom, a book of evil rituals best forgotten. The Kervibi have their origins in it. The book was stolen years ago, though the Kervibi have never known of the theft. Their fear has kept the Blackhall family safe these long years. They'd never be so bold. That foul book is back in Point Lookout, and they must have it. We can't allow them to keep it.
After retrieving the book, Marcella would have been found dead, just like in the released version. However, dialogue with Obadiah would have indicated that it was the Kervibi who had murdered her. He would react with shock at both Marcella's death as well as the presence of the book, which he had assumed was long gone after it was stolen years ago.
You have it? God help us you do. That damn book is back, and this time it'll be the death of me.
He would have then explained that he is obligated to destroy it as the last Blackhall, and it can only be done by sacrificing himself. If prompted though, Obadiah would have suggested that there is actually one other way. He could think of destroying the book, but it is beyond his abilities. At this point, the player would have been given the option of accepting the task and taking the Krobachnia to the obelisk housed in the Dunwich building in order to destroy it. In Vault 87, when talking to Fawkes for the first time through the intercom, an unused dialogue option was meant to appear that would have allowed you to insult his looks. It would have read, "Yikes, I'd say whoever beat you with the ugly stick overdid it."
Your arrogance against my kind is hardly surprising. However, there is only so much even I can take. Please, I'm appealing to the positive side of your human nature. Can we have a civil conversation?
There are 4 cut perks that can still be found in the game files. The Kamikaze perk that would have increased your action points by 10, but decreased your damage resistance by 20. The Mirelurk Ecology perk that was meant to be acquired through a book titled Marsh Hunting Tips Volume 4, Mirelurks. In the Point Lookout DLC, this perk would have granted players an additional 5 damage per hit against Mirelurks. The Grey Matter perk that would have reduced head damage by 25%, and the Swing for the Fences perk, which would have granted you a bonus damage of 10 with all melee weapons. Additionally, the Light Giver perk has 2 unreleased ranks that would have added 60 extra hit points. A cut structure was once meant to appear in the middle of the Citadel, where Liberty Prime would have emerged during the quest Take It Back. It would have consisted of bricks, metal beams, and a roof. Just before Liberty Prime gets activated, Sarah Lyons will inform you that you've been allowed to become an honorary member of the Lyons Pride, and will offer you either their power armor or recon armor. In the base game, both of these armors are just generic regular Brotherhood versions, but they should have had slightly different stats and a Lyons Pride symbol on them. In the computer found in the Citadel's Ring A section, where you can find more information about Vault 87, a cut entry was supposed to show up under Vault 101's project goals. It should have read, Vault 101 Goal Summary. Observe the effects of a contained environment through several generations. Observe the genetic impact of a small group of individuals breeding through several generations. Vault 76 is mentioned in the computer as well, and there's even evidence suggesting it was considered for inclusion in Fallout 3, as indicated by a concept image featuring a Vault dweller wearing a Vault 76 jumpsuit. A cut note titled Dispatch to Scribe Yearling was once meant to be found on the Brotherhood Scribe, located in the Arlington Public Library. The note would have been given to her by Scribe Rothschild. It reads, Scribe Yearling, now that Scribe Warswick has been written into the scrolls, I pass his noble task on to you. Journey into the ruins of the city, to the once great Arlington Library. There you will continue to collect, archive, and catalog the written work of the ancients. You will have 2 paladins sent with you, and you shall be requisition an amount of currency in order to barter and trade with outsiders for any books that they may present to you. Depart immediately and make haste. We cannot afford to have this work interrupted. Yours in steel, Scribe Rothschild. Uncle Leo, the friendly super mutant who wanders the capital wasteland, should have been encountered a total of 3 times, but this never happens. After meeting him the first time, you should have been able to run into him again later, fleeing from a group of humans.
Ah, my little friend. Our paths cross once again. I have wandered far since we last spoke. I didn't mean to come this way, actually, but some bleeders, some humans have been chasing me. After we last met, I was climbing a small hill when the ground crumbled beneath me and I fell into a dark pit. My leg was hurt in the fall, so I couldn't climb out. After I had rested, I looked around. I was in an old basement, but there were bottles of pure water stacked everywhere. I gathered up all I could carry, and once my leg felt better, I climbed out of the hole and went on my way. The next day, I came upon a group of humans. Usually your people leave me alone, but they saw the water I was carrying and attacked. I dropped the water and ran for my life. I'm afraid my brothers would find me very contemptible.
And when meeting him for the 3rd time, you would have been able to express your concern for Leo's well-being.
I'm glad to see you, little one. I hope your life has been happy since we last spoke. You've been worried about me? No, because of the trouble I ran into with the humans last time. There is no point in carrying your worry around with you for so long. If I did that, I would never take one more step.
There's an odd alternative voice line for a Mr.Handy robot that sounds like someone trying his best to fake an English accent.
Good day to you, sir. If I may be so bold, the blue of the Vault suit contrasts brilliantly with your eyes. You stupid git.
The Potomac Steamworks is an unused underground sewer area originally planned to be situated near Rivet City. This location was intended to be infested with feral ghouls and accessed through a manhole entrance. The only potential spoils would have been found on the bodies of the resident feral ghouls. Not much else is known about this area. A cut Molotov cocktail weapon was once meant to appear in the game. The model for it still exists in Fallout 3's projectile meshes. It would have been ignited by a flip lighter that also got cut and was later reused in Fallout New Vegas. A similar, more powerful version of the Molotov cocktail was also cut, called the Nuka Cocktail. It would have used the Nuka-Cola Quantum bottle and a rope, with additional ingredients. Other cut weapons found in Fallout 3's game files include the Lightning Gun, a unique laser rifle designed to emit a powerful laser beam, causing an explosion with a large bright light. Love Tap, a unique variant of the Brass Knuckles, with a slightly higher damage than their counterparts. They were to deal more critical damage and required 3 fewer action points per attacks in VATS. The Clover's Cleaver, a unique Chinese officer's sword with a higher damage and damage per second, but a lower critical chance than the normal Chinese officer's sword. The Law Dog, a unique .32 pistol with slightly increased damage and value. This pistol was supposedly meant to be found on 3 Dog. The Mirelurk bait grenade, a special frag grenade that, based on the name, would have acted as bait to attract or lure away Mirelurks. The Spanner weapon, a wrench that was to appear in the Mothership Zeta DLC, and a cut smoke grenade that was meant to be found in the Operation Anchorage DLC. Plenty of more cut characters can be found in Fallout 3's game files as well, like Little Toe and Trigger, two slavers who would have lived in Paradise Falls and would have been connected to the Replicated Man side quest. Tuck and Karen Johnson, who would have both been found in Andale, Professor John Malleus, a scientist from Vault 92 that only appears in the game in the form of notes and audio logs. His actual body was left unused. Twigbag, a smuggler cut from the Point Lookout DLC, and Bill McShady. Not much is known about either of these characters. Mr. Burke, the right-hand man of Alistair Tenpenny, has a bunch of unused dialogue. If you decided to disable the bomb in Megaton, he should have ran out of Moriarty's saloon and confronted you about it.
You self-righteous little... Do you have any idea what you've done to my employer's development plan? A word of advice. Watch your back.
And if you rigged the bomb to explode with the fusion pulse charge, Burke should have started walking to Tenpenny Tower. If you interacted with him, he should have said,
"The pulse charge is rigged? Excellent. Meet me upstairs at Tenpenny Tower. There you will see a most glorious sight."
After detonating the bomb at Tenpenny Tower, Burke will give you your reward and go about his business, only telling you that you should be proud of what you did. But this wasn't always the case. According to the rest of his unused dialogue lines, you should have been able to properly interact with him inside the tower and ask him what it's like living there.
What you did, it was a great thing. That place, those people, necessary sacrifices. Here's to a better future. Here's to Tenpenny Tower. It's a piece of utopia jutting up from the wasteland. Tenpenny is a true visionary. I do my part to assist him in unfolding his master plan. This tower is the symbol of true progress in this world. People are dying to get in here. Just ask those ghouls.
You could have also asked him about the ghoul situation.
We have the situation contained. I advise you to speak more civilly. Perhaps you can go enlighten Chief Gustavo. I have pressing evil minion things to do.
After talking to Gustavo and starting the Tenpenny Tower side quest, you could have asked Burke how he would feel about having a couple of ghoul neighbors.
I spend most of my days out acquiring and managing various assets for Mr. Tenpenny, so it matters little to me personally. However, the ghoulish state is a bitter reminder that things aren't yet in line with Mr. Tenpenny's vision for a pure and stainless future. So you see, ghouls living here is simply out of the question. In time, after Tenpenny's projects have come to fruition, things like ghouls and other deformations of nature will be a thing of the past.
And when accepting the you gotta shoot him in the head side quest from Mr. Crowley, you would have been able to ask Burke if he knows him.
Never heard of him. Wait. I think I do remember Alistair Tenpenny mentioning him once. Something about a job. It was before I met him.
The tower's security guards also have unused dialogue, blocked by incorrectly set goodbye flags. You should have been able to ask them about the Tenpenny Tower.
It's named after Alistair Tenpenny, who runs this building. Got a bunch of rich guys that pay him to live in it. We're here to make sure that people like you don't mess up his deal.
And about Alistair Tenpenny.
He owns this building. We get our caps from him, and don't you forget it.
There's an early cut loading screen found in the game files with text that reads, "In the year 2277, Washington DC has been reduced to a nuclear shattered wasteland where the noble forces of the Brotherhood of Steel wage constant war against an army of hideous super mutants. This is just speculation, but perhaps this was the original planned setting for the game. The player would have had to join the Brotherhood to defeat a new super mutant army similar to Fallout 1. At the 5-Axles rest stop location, in one of the trucks, a short holotape named Partial CB Radio Backup can be found, with only the first part of the recording actually playing.
Come again, come again. Any truckers on this wave?
For whatever reason, the rest of the audio is cut off, and can only be found in the game's data files. This is the full version.
Come again, come again. Any truckers on this wave? I'll read you, buddy. Y'all see those clouds? Over. 10-4. It's the commies. Let's circle the wagons. Meet us at the state line on Route 7. You got a deal. I'll pass the word along on my way. Over and out.
An interesting detail to add is that the Boston accented trucker is voiced by the game's lead designer, Emil Pagliarulo, who grew up in Boston. A cut paper note written by Winthrop, Underworld's head technician, was intended to be found somewhere in the area. In it, Winthrop is scolding the other residents and asking for donations of stimpaks and rataways to trade for spare parts for their ventilation system. It reads, "Alright, listen up. This is the last time I'm going to say it. We might be immune to radiation, but we still gotta breathe. So whoever's been taking the spare parts from the supply closet better stop, right quick. If I don't have parts, I can't keep the air circulating. Got it? We're out of parts, so I need everyone to bring me any of those stimpaks or rataway things that you find. I'm gonna see if I can't trade them to some smoothskin for some parts. And if those go missing, you zombies are on your own. Winthrop." All the kids found in the Republic of Dave have blocked dialogue lines that never play in the final game. You should have been able to ask them about Dave and life in the Republic.
He's my daddy. Whenever we play Republic, I get to play as Dave. Watch, watch. I am sorry, sir, but I am afraid that the Bureau of Dave-like Activities has ordered your execution. Aren't I good? Huh?
Daddy? He's not so bad. Shauna says he's the most important man to ever walk the wastes. I don't know about that. The wastes are awfully big. I don't like mommy number 2. What's wrong with just one mommy? But President Daddy says he needs 2 mommies.
President Daddy is awesome. He buys all sorts of neat toys that we get to play with.
You could have also asked them what they were up to.
President Daddy says I sleep too much, but I don't sleep much at all. I like to play with the toys in the museum, but Shauna always yells at me.
During the election day, you were supposed to be able to ask all the kids if they wanted to run for presidency.
I can't be the president. I'm just a kid. I don't think anybody is even allowed to run against Dave. I'm too young. I can't even vote yet.
If Dave lost the election, they would all react to it.
Why? Did Dave get too old? Rosie's going to be the new leader? What will Dave do?
He actually won?
When returning to Vault 101 during the Trouble on the Homefront quest, it was intended that the Vault's public announcement radio would play a unique message from the Overseer, threatening to use deadly force against the rebels and dispense punishment towards anyone caught associating with them. If the Overseer is Alan Mack, this would have played.
Any Vault resident seen associating with the so-called rebels will be detained, questioned, and disciplined appropriately. Order will be restored. Discipline will be restored. Vault security personnel have been authorized to use deadly force if necessary. Don't let it come to that. This vault will be one big happy family again, one way or another.
And if Amada's dad is still the Overseer, this would have played instead.
Any Vault resident seen associating with the so-called rebels will be detained, questioned, and disciplined appropriately. Order will be restored. Discipline will be restored. Vault security personnel have been authorized to use deadly force if necessary. Don't let it come to that. Haven't you always been happy? Haven't we always been a family? Amata, stop this madness. You're disrupting everyone's life, everyone's happiness. Come home. Just come home, and everything can be the way it was.
Sadly, we never get to hear these broadcasts in-game, and only static can be heard when returning to the vault. Linda Smith, one of the inhabitants of Andale, has a cut dialogue response. When ending the conversation with her, she would say,
"I really look forward to preparing you for dinner sometime."
Something that the player should have been able to interrupt by saying, what?
Oh, silly me. I mean, preparing a meal for you. Just a crazy twist of the tongue. Well, gotta go. Bye.
A couple of cut image notes can be found in the game files, most of them originally intended for the Wasteland Survival Guide quest, given to you by Moira Brown. During the first chapter of the quest, she would have given you an image note of a minefield playground, for the second chapter a Mirelurk spawning pod image, and for the third an image of Arlington Library. 2 other unused image notes exist depicting Megaton's atomic bomb and the Galaxy News radio building. There are 5 unused holotapes that were meant to be found in Vault 87, named Shelton Delacroix's logs. According to their files, they were connected to the Finding the Garden of Eden quest and the friendly super mutant Fawkes, trapped in the medical area of the vault. It seems that these holotapes would have revealed who Fawkes was before he was transformed into a mutant.
Is this thing on? Oh, yeah, it is. I see the little needle moving. I'm making these recordings as a diary of my life in one of Vault-Tech's newer vaults. They recommended we keep one, so I figured why not. But let me start at the beginning. My name is Shelton Delacroix, and I'm a security officer here in Vault 87. I'm assigned to the laboratory level, which sure beats babysitting the reactor room. Hopefully, in a few more months, I'll be allowed to learn a little more. It's also hush-hush, but that's the way things are around here. Anyway, I'm due on shift soon, so I'll record more later. Things are getting a bit weird up here on the laboratory level. I swear, I keep hearing these crazy noises coming from the experimentation chambers. When I asked about it, they told me it's the animals they're testing on. What the heck are they doing to them? I think I may look into it some more. It gets boring standing in the hallways and pacing back and forth. I don't know where to begin. I have to report what I've seen. There has to be a record of this somewhere. Sykes and Kostler dragged some unconscious guy from the dorms into the labs. I tried to ask what was going on, but they just glared at me. After they came back out of the containment area, they told me not to tell anyone what I saw, or I'd regret it. Sykes was even patting his 10mm when he said that. I think they were threatening to kill me. After they left, I snuck into the containment room and I almost threw up. I don't even know how to describe it. It looked sort of human, but it was deformed. I could see some of its organs on the surface of its body like they were trying to push through. Its skin was disgusting. Green and brown and bruised like it was bleeding on the inside. And the smell, it was horrible. I staggered out of there and came here to get this all down. What the hell are they doing in this place? Oh my God. It's all making sense. The missing people and those things. I'm in hiding now. I'm recording this on the reactor level. They found one of the older recordings, and now they want me in the labs. Luckily, I had a friend in the security team, and they told me to run. So, here I am. What the hell am I supposed to do now? America and his team are obviously experimenting on people. Someone's got to put a stop to it. But how? There's nowhere to go and no one to tell. What am I gonna... Oh my God. They're coming. Tell my wife in Dorm E that I love her.
Stupid machine! How you work this thing? This thing is stupid! Smash it!
Vault 87 was also planned to have an Overseer's office, with an escape tunnel and an Overseer's terminal, with multiple cut entries that we never get to see in the final game, like one describing the aftermath of a nuclear warhead striking the entrance of the vault. Mission suspended. I'm quite sad to report that due to a direct hit from what I presume to be a nuclear weapon on the entry area of Vault 87, we will be unable to provide the scouting reports as outlined in Vault-Tech's Operation manual. The main door to Vault 87 is damaged beyond repair, and we are detecting extremely high levels of lethal radiation outside and in the entry tunnel. You could have also viewed Vault-Tech's instructions to the Overseer from none other than Stanislav Braun. If you are reading this, emergency vault interment procedures have been initiated, and you and your control group have been sealed into your vault. Congratulations! You are now a vital part of the most ambitious program ever undertaken by Vault-Tech. If you have not yet read your sealed orders, do so now. They will outline the experimental protocols assigned to your control group. Please remember that deviation from these protocols in any way will jeopardize the success of the program and may be considered grounds for termination by Vault-Tech Corporation as outlined in your employment agreement. Your vault may or may not have been selected to receive a GEC module. Please see Attachment A for details. The Attachment A reads, "Congratulations, Vault 87 has been chosen as one of the very few select vaults to receive a genuine GEC. The device was delivered before final sealing of the vault and installed into its secure pedestal by our special GEC Scramble team. I'd like to extend my best wishes to you and all of your population. Your survival will ensure the continuation of the human race and to carry the Vault-Tech's name into the future. Dr. Stanislav Braun." A cut radio station called Tenpenny Tower Radio was once planned to appear in the game, hosted by Alistair Tenpenny, the founder and owner of Tenpenny Tower. He would have pretended to be a radio celebrity, offering various motivational phrases and truisms. Some of his cut voice lines can still be found in the game files.
Thank you for listening to Tenpenny Tower Radio Service, brought to you by Alistair Tenpenny. And now it's time for another Tenpenny truism. Never wonder for a moment if you're worthy of the benefits you possess. Rather wonder always if you have utilized them to their fullest. The beggar must lay down his cup, for a man needs both hands to grasp the future. The poor man wonders why he is poor. The rich man knows why he is rich. This has been a Tenpenny truism.
Hamilton's hideaway, located between Arafu and Big Town, is a crude, unfinished bomb shelter now infested with rad roaches, rad scorpions, and raiders. Not much is really going on here, but at one point it was planned for the player to find a cut terminal that would have revealed that this underground complex was originally a well-prepared shelter for a family of 3. It also described what the world was like a year after the bombs fell. First entry reads, July 19, 2077. Finally done. Maggie wanted us to sign up at a Vault-Tech shelter, but I've never trusted those bastards. It took a lot of work, but Frank helped me get all the parts together and hauled out to the acreage to build this shelter. Air filtration, chemical toilets, artesian well, the whole 9 yards. Frank's connections got us the generator cheap too, and we don't have to worry about sharing quarters with whoever got their name on some waiting list when the day comes. December 24, 2077. 2 months after the bombs fell. Robin wanted to play with the computer for Christmas, so I siphoned some juice from the fusion generator to power this old thing. I know she'd rather be playing outside in the snow, but she's a good kid, knows that we can't go outside yet. I'll check the fallout levels again tomorrow while she's playing, but I doubt we'll be heading out anytime soon. Damn commies must have hit us hard. February 13, 2078. Don't believe it. Frank showed up today. He was on a sales trip when the blast hit, selling generators to a mining operation in Pennsylvania. Being in those shafts probably saved his life, but the shockwave also knocked out every power line, feeding them light and air. Falling debris killed the foreman standing right next to him. He doesn't even know how long he was crawling around those tunnels before he got outside. The poor bastard. February 14, 2078. Frank's in bad shape. Arms and face are all burned up. He's got a lot of blisters that look infected. He went through hell out there. Hardly anybody alive, and those he met almost did him in. He tried getting into a vault near Burkittsville. They wouldn't open up, and he was almost killed in an ambush on his way out of there. He said those folks were skins of men, cannibals, must just wait for their next meal to come looking for help at the vault. Frank steered clear of them and headed straight here after that. He's been on his feet for weeks. February 28, 2078. His hair was falling out within a week of him showing up. I wanted to believe we could save him, but there's no way a few iodine tablets a day was going to reverse the radiation he must have been exposed to out there. He was a good man. He deserves better, but I can't go out there and give him a proper burial. Maggie's going to stay up with Robin and let her play some holotapes loud tonight. That's when I'll take Frank in the back and cremate him. I wish our furnace was big enough to hold him in one piece. God help us. How could it have come to this? Lydia Montenegro has 2 cut voice lines when purchasing either the pre-war theme for your 10-penny tower suit.
Still want to live in the past, huh? Well, forget it. Those days are long gone.
Or the Love Machine theme.
Yuck. The thought of walking around naked's making me sick.
The side quest You Gotta Shoot Him in the Head involved 5 mercenaries, Dave, Strayer, Dukoff, Crowley, and Tara, that were hired by Alistair Tenpenny to retrieve a rare weapon in Fort Constantine. Their experiences were meant to be chronicled through 4 cut notes that would have been scattered throughout the military base. The first one would have been titled Dave's Note and would have been written by Dave. Tuesday, don't know the date, this will look good on my war record. When I get back to the Republic, my candidacy will be unstoppable. Thursday, still don't know the date. Strayer needs to die. He refuses to use my title. I keep telling him that the election is a mere formality. He should start using my future title now to get in my good graces. Sunday, I think. The disarmament treaty failed. I've got the Republic's treasure. The other ambassadors have all fled. It's time I return to my people. I'm leaving this note to be found by future scholars. They will marvel at my accomplishments. Next one would have been written by Jeff Strayer, the father of Ted Strayer. Dear Miranda, I don't know if you'll ever get this letter. That job I took isn't going well. One of the mercs on the team is crazy. He talks like he's some sort of president in exile. I don't trust him. One of the other ones is a drunken lecher. He's always trying to make moves on the woman on the team. He almost got us killed yesterday because he was staring at her rather than watching the road. If I don't make it back, take good care of Ted. Take him to Rivet City. The 2 of you will be safe there. I'll join you there if I survive. The third note would have been written by Dukov. Tara's dead. Crowley messed up and got her killed. Damn ghoul. When I'm done, he'll sniff butts with the Pharaohs for the rest of his life. And the last one would have been written by Tara, the female mercenary that Dukov was eyeing, and that can be found dead in Fort Constantine. If anyone finds this note, stay the hell away from this place. If the Pharaoh ghouls don't get you, the robots will. There's radiation everywhere. I think they used to make nukes here, or maybe they just kept them. I don't know. Tara. Additionally, a cut terminal entry by Mr. Crowley would have described this entrapment by Dukov. I'm trapped. Dukov betrayed me. I'm stuck down here with nothing but the ghouls and the robots for company. The ghouls ignore me because they think I'm one of them. The robots are easy to avoid. All I've got is this stupid terminal to keep me company. Someday I'll get out of here. Then Tenpenny and the others will pay. Soma, the alien captive encountered in the Mothership Zeta DLC, possesses unused dialogue about her previous involvement as a slaver. Players were intended to inquire about this aspect of her past after listening to her express regret in the alien captive recording log 22.
Oh, great. All right, listen. Not that it's any of your damn business, but yeah, before I got sucked up into this crazy alien land here, I pulled some shady stuff. Many of my associates may or may not have been slavers, and I may or may not have received payment for helping them in their trade. Okay. Big secret exposed. Great job. Hope you're happy.
There's a cut terminal called Gene McAndrew's Terminal, planned for the LOB Enterprise building. It was supposed to feature 4 entries, 2 of whom were scrapped from the game. The first one would have complained about a hostile workplace in the company. To Director of Human Resources, look, I agreed to sign on this project, I agreed to carry a gun for this project, and damn it, I've shot people for this project. But I never agreed to go out with Sam Johnson. Ever since the company started handing out the emergency defense supplies, that Jack has repeatedly attacked me and the other female staff with cheap lines and come-ons. If you expect us to get this project done, then stop Sam from talking about the grenade in his pocket, or I'm out of here along with the entire female staff. And the other one would have been a response by Gene to the weapons practice email to McCoy and Derek. Weapon practice tonight? Sure, I'll definitely be there. I wouldn't miss a chance to have my weapon accidentally discharge and hit that grenade in Sam's pocket. There are 4 unused pre-war holotapes titled Reconstructed Audio Logs that would have been found somewhere in the Operation Anchorage DLC. In it, unknown characters are talking about the virtual reality simulation of Operation Anchorage.
Yeah, we can talk about how many times he made me rework the way his code looks in a sense.
Sure, but the idea of the Chinese developing something similar isn't out of the question.
No, thanks. Come on, man. Even you have to admit these are sheer fantasy.
Look, this is the job. Most of these scenarios will never happen, but if they do, we'll have a plan.
I swear, if James comes to us with another ridiculous contingency scenario...
You and me both. General gets any more comfortable here, and there's going to be a lot more all-nighters for everybody.
I hear Chase is having to deliver his personal effects. Heck, including an overnight cop.
Between us, I think the General's taken a little too much interest in the project. You know how the CEO's office is usually a formality?
Yeah, got to. These bombers Chase requested. We're pushing the system to the brink with all this crap.
Let's see. If I can just reallocate some of the... Yeah, that frees up memory for the bombers. Yeah, I can. Don't know who exactly the simulation is supposed to benefit, though.
Jesus, are these guys serious? Why would they bring that kind of hardware with them?
I got word from Brad to the Pentagon. We're going to need to modify the ROE in the Chinese to match this. We just got more field reports from DOD. Hey, Rick, you busy?
You almost sound like a sympathizer. You really feel sorry for the poor saps?
Yeah, exactly. They're in for a long haul. You'd think, but they're not like us. Their boys are drafted and left run whatever shit assignment they're handed. No, it's not that at all. I get that the Chinese occupation in Alaska is strictly military, but don't you think they'd settle in a bit?
MS07 is a cut quest that would have involved the Lyons Brotherhood of Steel, the Outcasts, and their conflict. The quest's central premise revolved around the retrieval of a mysterious artifact, potentially stumbled upon by Sarah Lyons during the course of the adventure. Within the unused dialogue, hints of reconciliation surfaced with mentions of unity, suggesting a potential reunion between the Outcasts and the Brotherhood. However, ominous undertones emerged with phrases like double cross and Lyons strike, hinting at possible treachery or conflict where the player could have been entangled in betrayals and confrontations. There would also have been a Bureau of Special Affairs, a Center for Extratypical Research, and a mysterious disk, all of which survived in the form of unused assets. The laboratory in the basement of Fort Independence has a position marker, MS07 lab weight marker, indicating that this location would have been involved, alongside a cut character named Specialist Aberdeen from the Outcast faction. Additionally, another position marker outside Fort Independence, associated with teleporting Protector Kasdan during the Outcast Collection Agent, shares the MS07 prefix, suggesting its original inclusion in the quest sequence. Some content involved with this quest remains in the game. Dialogue topics belonging to Scribe Bodwich, Elder Lyons, and Protector Kasdan, discussing the conflict between the Outcasts and Lyons Brotherhood of Steel, retain the MS07 prefix in their topic headers, implying their initial inclusion in the quest.
Even now, a year after they left, the wounds of their departure are still sore. Some of my soldiers are angry about it. They see it as an insult to me. Bless them for their loyalty. They're more angry about it than I ever was. Others understand their decision. Sometimes I hear them wondering if they should have gone with them. I can't blame them, but I stand by my decision, and I respect theirs.
Moreover, within the Pentagon Library Terminal in the Citadel, there are two overlapping references, both discussing the Paladin UFO, notably the first entry featuring a newer base ID, closer to the revised terminal copy, suggests potential edits or additions post the abandonment of MS07. Conversely, the other two entries bear resemblance to the original terminal copy's reference IDs. This observation hints at the likelihood of the Paladin entry being revised or appended after the quest's abandonment. Lastly, an unused radio topic alludes to Galaxy News Radio, featuring a segment related to the player's actions within MS07, further underscoring the quest's lingering presence within the game's framework.
Tensions continue to mount between the courageous forces of the Brotherhood of Steel and their estranged brethren, the Outcasts. Now, normally, family squabbles are none of my business. But when the Outcasts decide to take potshots at my building, which the Brotherhood uses as an outpost, I make an exception. So, Brotherhood Outcasts, knock it off! I prefer not to get murdered in my own backyard. The rest of you Brotherhood cats, can't you extend an olive branch or something? You'd think fighting the super mutants would be enough.
Another cut note in the game should have appeared in and around the Roosevelt Academy, written by Gerard, a staff member there, to Judy. Due to the electrocution incident, I had to have the self-defense feature of the Mr.Handy robot disabled. Please keep this a secret, and I advise you to hide the robot in the closet when it's not in use. Remember to deactivate it too, or everybody is going to hear him in there. If the students decide they're going to pull another prank on that thing, all Mr. Handy can do is run away.